the decorator design pattern, the intent is to attach additional responsibilities to an object dynamically. Here the dynamically means not by the time you are defining the class for the object, but when the classes are used in application. So remember, the responsibility means the class is an instance variable for memory part, and class is methods for behaviors. So the intent in decorator pattern is we want to add more responsibility to the object, but in not dynamically means when you define the class, we define the responsibilities. But dynamically means once the class definition done, how do you add more responsibility? That is the decorator design pattern. So decorator design pattern is a alternative to subclassing for extending functionality. What it means is that subclassing means that you add more responsibility to the parent class. So decorator pattern is an alternative to that. So applicability to add responsibilities dynamically, and then the responsibility could be also withdrawn. Since we can dynamically add, it could be withdrawn as well. And then the most important thing, applicability, is that subclassing is impractical. What it means is that if you have a specific number of subclasses, you can define that, but combination is too many, then subclass is not practical. For example, I have a hamburger class, and then I have a subclass for cheeseburger where cheese is added, and then I can define another subclass of cheese with a tomato, and then I can define tomato only, and then I can define double cheese, and so on. So as you add some more to the hamburger, and then you cannot define just the subclass because there are lots of combinations of added things to the hamburger. Then instead of doing subclassing, the decorator design pattern is better for this case. An example, just a qualitative example of a decorator pattern is that when you have some text editor in the computer screen, what you actually see is the pure text with some border decorations and then some scroll bar. So design pattern illustration is that you have a basic component text view, and then you add some decorators as you need. Sometimes you need just border only, sometimes you need just border and the scroll. So instead of doing subclass, you can just add more responsibilities as needed dynamically. That's better. So in decorator pattern, we have 4 participants. So here we have a interface component which simply defines the behavior requirement for the concrete one, and then decorator interface which is independent of a specific application or classes, and then we have a concrete one is there. So component is the one to receive more responsibilities, and the decorator is the one to add to the component. So you can see decorator as a responsibility and the component as the one receiving more responsibility. So those two are interface, and then the concrete ones are the specific class depending on the specific application. So class diagram, the structure in a decorator pattern looks like this. So you have a component which you receive as more responsibility, and then this is the actual concrete type based on a specific application. And then we have a decorator which owns the reference to the component. So the component is the one to receive responsibility, and this decorator owns the reference to that. Because of that ownership, this cannot be an interface, but it's an abstract class in this example. And then we have a specific responsibilities, specific concrete decorator. So first example is hamburger. So we have a interface hamburger component which defines the behaviors for concrete component. So we have a Whopper and Big Mac, which will receive more responsibilities through decorator. So we have three kinds of decorators. Three responsibilities you can add to the component: the cheese, onion, or tomato. We could add the cheese and the tomato, or cheese twice, and so on. So we have lots of combination of decorators there. So that fits on the decorator design pattern. So the example code something like this. So we have a component interface. So for concrete component should implement this one. All it shows is what kind of responsibilities has been added. So decoration method returns the list of responsibilities added so far. So concrete one is a Big Mac. So far it's a Big Mac only. Nothing's added yet. The Whopper is another concrete component. So Whopper only. And then more responsibilities to the components are added through decorator, which is abstract class. Decorator participant has a reference to the component. Let me show you the PowerPoint again. So the decorator has a reference to the component. So that is implemented here. So when the decorator is created, the actual component is set through this variable. And then we have three kinds of decorators. Cheese is a child of a hamburger decorator, cheese. And then when cheese is added, the more responsibility, list of responsibility, the cheese is added. Onion, same story, and tomato, and same story. So here is the application code. So we have a Big Mac as a concrete component, but it's set into the interface component variable. And then at the very beginning you have a Big Mac only, but I now add the cheese to the component. Then I will have a cheese and hamburger and the cheese. And then I add the tomato. Then by this moment I will have a Big Mac and the cheese and the tomato decorated so far. Another cheese is double cheese, and then finally I add the onion. Now I have another component, concrete component, the Whopper. So basically you have a Whopper only. I add the cheese, tomato, cheese, and onion. Then you have all those added. The responsibility or decorations will be displayed. So this is the first example. And then another example is a coffee case. So we have a component, the coffee, which will receive more responsibilities. Here, list of responsibilities. We can add milk or sprinkles or whip. So those are decorator types. And then this is component, is a concrete component, is a simple coffee. So simple coffee begins with just black coffee, and then you can add more decorators there. Here is the example code. So let me close this one. So this is another example for decorator design pattern. So in decorator design pattern, the simple this coffee is a component interface. So here the responsibility of a basic component is cost, and then list of ingredients is the required behavior. So simple coffee is a concrete component. So basic cost is 1, and the ingredient is black coffee. So that's a basic component. To add something, we should use a coffee decorator. So coffee decorator has a reference to the component. And then decorator, first milk, As the milk is added, cost $50 more, and then list of ingredients milk is added. Sprinkles 20 cents more, list of ingredients. Whip 70 cents more, and the list of ingredients whip is added. So application, as I have a simple coffee, all I have is $1 cost and the black coffee only. But as I now add the milk to the simple coffee, so cost is increased, and then ingredient list is added, and so sprinkles and whip and some more sprinkles. So this is called a decorator design pattern.